Nihayaribo Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Project Acharya Arcita Prabhu Shrimad. ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So we have just been informed about the passing of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj. It's an auspicious day. It's Guru Purnima. It's the disappearance of Sanatana Goswami and beginning of Chaturmasya. They'll have to turn the volume up because I can't speak any louder. Yeah, I can't speak any louder. Sorry. And so we will recite the verse, say a few words about the verse, and then we'll say something about Bhakti Charu Maharaj, Sanatana Goswami, like that. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God and Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and to Srila Prabhupada, who is a translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly attending the Srimad Bhagavatam class and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, whose worship with transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're continuing our reading in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the second canto, chapter 4, and today's text is 5. First, I'm going to put this on. I never thought I'd ever have to wear reading glasses, what to speak of glasses and then a mask over it. So, Rajovacha Samichinam Vacho Brahman Sarvagyasya Tavanaga Tamo Vishiryate Mahyam Hare Katayataha Katam Rajovacha. You have to click down on the bottom so the entire verse is on the screen. Yeah, there you go. Oops, you went too far. There you go. Wait, just one click on the bottom there. Okay. Rajovacha Samichinang Vacho Brahman Sarvagyasya Tavanagaha Tamo Vishiryate Mahyam Hare Kata Yatakatam Rajavacha Samichinang Vacho Brahman Sarvagyasya Tavanaga Tamo Vishiryate Mahyam Hare Kata Yatakatam Rajavacha Samichinang Vacho Brahman Sarvagyasya Tavanaga Tamo Vishiryate Mahyam Hare Kata Yatakatam Rajavacha Hare Kata Yata Kata Rajo Vacha Samichinam Vacho Brahma Karmagasya Tavanaka Tamo Vishiryate Mayam Hare Kata Yata Kata Rajo Vacha Samichinam Vacho Brahman Sarvagasya Tavanaga Tamo Vishiryate Mayam Hare Kataya Takata Vaishnavis Raja Vacha Samichinam Vacho Brahma Sarvagasya Tavanaka Tamo Vishiryate Mayam Hare Kataya Takata. Okay, Raja Uvacha. The king said, Samichinam, perfectly right. Vachaha, speeches. Brahman, O learned Brahmana. Sarvagasya, one who knows all. Tava, your. Anagha, without any contamination. Tamaha, the darkness of ignorance. Vishiryate, gradually disappearing. Mahyam, unto me. Harihe, of the Lord. Katayataha, as you are speaking. Katam, topics. Srila Prabhupada's translation for this verse. Maharaj Parikshit said, O learned Brahmana, you know everything because you are without material contamination. Therefore, whatever you have spoken to me appears perfectly right. Your speeches are gradually destroying the darkness of my ignorance, for you are narrating the topics of the Lord. Please repeat. Maharaj Parikshit said, O learned Brahmana, you know everything because you are without material contamination. Therefore, whatever you have spoken to me appears perfectly right. Your speeches are gradually destroying the darkness of my ignorance, for you are narrating the topics of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada's purport. And Amber Prabhu, Amber, after we read the purport, please leave it on the screen because I'm going to discuss something that I want the devotees to see. The practical experience of Maharaj Parikshit is disclosed herein, revealing that transcendental topics of the Lord act like injections when received by the sincere devotee from a person who is perfectly uncontaminated by material tinges. In other words, reception of the messages of Srimad Bhagavatam from professional men heard by a Karmakandiya audience never acts miraculously as stated here. Devotional hearing of the messages of the Lord is not like hearing ordinary topics. Therefore, the action will be felt by the sincere hearer by experience of the gradual disappearance of ignorance. Yasya deve para bhaktiryata deve tata guru. Tasyaite katata hyarta prakashante mahatmanaha. When a hungry man is given food to eat, he feels satiation of hunger and the pleasure of dining simultaneously. Thus, he does not have to ask whether he has actually been fed or not. The crucial test of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is that one should get positive enlightenment by such an act. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvashesha Shrunivadi Pasachireshare Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtang Snapitang Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyahang Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavang Cha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada and Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitam Sha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhya Shah Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravantavranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the verse spoken by Maharaj Parikshit is describing the effects of hearing Krishna Katha from the right source and in the right mood. Both things have to be there. The speaker has to be bona fide and the hearer has to be bona fide. And then the effect will be there as mentioned here. Now the reason why I asked for the verse to be left on the screen, you have to go to HDMI 3. Is that if, I'm sure you're all very sharp. I'm sure you understand what I'm going to speak about here. That there's a disparity between the verse quoted in the purport and the paraphrased translation of that verse. They don't match. So I immediately contacted our chief BBT editor, Arcita Prabhu, to point that out, and he agrees, and he said, at least one other person pointed it out to him. And then we got Prabhupada's original manuscript. After Prabhupada printed the three volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, he did it in 3 volumes, and he actually brought those with him when he came to the United States in '65. But he had continued to translate and write purports to the second canto, and he was moving through the Bhagavatam. So when he came, he already had his manuscript for the second canto. And when he met Hayagriva, you can read about this in the Lilamrita, and he found out, oh, you're an English professor? Can you edit something for me? So Prabhupada took him to his apartment, opened the closet, and a huge stack of papers. He said, type these up and edit them. So that was Hayagriva's first seva for Prabhupada. You had to take that manuscript, type it up, and then edit it. So we have a copy of Prabhupada's original manuscript for the second canto. And when he wrote this purport, he didn't actually put that verse in there. The editors later on, they were trying to show the audience, there's nothing wrong with that, where Prabhupada's statement came from. But they selected the wrong verse for this particular statement. The statement is, from the verse itself, that if you hear, then gradually this is what happens. You become purified, you become uncontaminated like that. And Prabhupada is taking that as what he's speaking about in the purport. But the verse they put in as reference, Yasya Devi Parabhaktir, is not the right verse. Yasya Devi Parabhaktir, everybody knows, it says that for one who has complete faith in the Supreme Lord and equal faith in the Guru, for such a person, the imports of Vedic literature are revealed. But that's not what Prabhupada is talking about here. The verse he's referring to is from the 11th canto, 2nd chapter, text number 42, whereas Maharaj Nimi is enlightened by the Navayogendras. And this is a verse that Prabhupada also quotes many, many times in lectures and he refers to in other purports. Everybody should know this verse. Bhaktir Pareshana Bhava Bharaktir. Anyachachai Satrika Esha Kala. Papadamanyasya Yatasha Takshu. Tushtir Pushtir Shut Apaya Anagat. So that's the verse that should have been here, but they put the wrong verse in there. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because obviously now the editors will have to correct this. But some people will object. Oh, this is what was there when Prabhupada was here. Why are you changing it? No, it's not being changed, and it wasn't Prabhupada's words. See, like I said, I have the manuscript here. Prabhupada did not have that verse in there. He just gave his commentary on today's verse. And because they thought, oh, Prabhupada is referring to another verse here. Let us go find that verse and put it in for reference. So whoever did it, I don't know if it was Hayagriva or some later editor, made a mistake. They put the wrong reference in the purport. So should we leave that because that's the way the book was here when Prabhupada was there? Or should we put in the right reference? right? And put in the right reference, obviously. Prabhupada wanted his books, hold on to it. Prabhupada wanted his books, he stated himself, to be polished to a degree where, scholars would find them to be attractive. And that's what has happened. Gradually, Prabhupada's books were introduced into universities and many, many scholars read them. And they're very, very enlivened by the fact that Prabhupada took the time to give the transliteration from the Sanskrit Devanagari and then word for word translation and then his English translation and then his commentary. So this is very appealing to scholars because this is the way they like to see things. They like to be able to match up the original Devanagari with what the author has written. And Prabhupada has made it very easy. So for us to leave this kind of error in a purport would not be acceptable to Prabhupada. Prabhupada wanted his books to be presented and polished in a very nice way. And it's not changing anything that Prabhupada actually said, it's just putting in the right reference, the right verse. And that verse is very important for us to meditate on. Bhaktir Paresha Anubhava Varaktir. 11:242. If you don't know the verse, you should go home and read it. That's your homework for today. What that verse is saying is that Bhakti, devotional service, Para Isha Anubhava, attraction to the Supreme Lord, and Virakti, detachment from anything that's not important for making spiritual progress. All of these things happen gradually for one who surrenders. Papada Manasya. For one who surrenders to the Lord, these things gradually become more and more prominent. Your devotional mood, sentiment, your attachment to the Lord, and your detachment from anything that doesn't promote spiritual life. These three things will gradually rise, just as yata, as ashnataha, somebody who's eating, these things happen. Tushti, pushti, shudatpaya. The taste and cessation of hunger and satisfaction. These three things happen when you eat. Like you're hungry, you sit down, immediately you get a taste for whatever you're eating. Hopefully you like it. Or everybody has their taste. I know I'm serving most of the time breakfast and lunch every day. And every devotee has different tastes. Somebody will come and salad, you can't give me enough salad, give me as much as you can. And somebody has to look at salad, no, I don't want it. And all the different preps, it's like that. Somebody's really after dal, that they could bring a bathtub and fill it up and it wouldn't be enough. And somebody else looks at the dal and goes, I don't want any dal. So everybody has taste. So when you sit down to eat, taste is the first thing. You taste the prep and hopefully again it tastes appealing to you because Prabhupada also said several times that clothing you should wear according to the taste of others. In other words, don't dress in a weird way so people think, get out of this community, you're too weird. But food should be taken according to the taste of the eater. In other words, don't eat to satisfy somebody else. Eat what you like. Not only what you like, because that's a problem here in America I've mentioned many times. Americans and other wealthy societies, because they have money, they only eat what they like. They don't eat what's good for them. And therefore, although they have money, they're malnourished. Because we know you have to have those 6 tastes. Sweet, sour, salty, pungent, astringent, and bitter. Those 6 things have to be there in your diet, otherwise you won't be healthy. So as it's stated, if you don't voluntarily eat bitter food, you'll have to voluntarily eat bitter medicine. Because your body will get out of balance. And you have to eat bitter to bring it back into balance. So you may as well voluntarily eat bitter on a regular basis. But in most, developed societies nowadays, they don't know what's good for them. They have money, so they only eat what they like. I like chips, and I like, this and that, and I don't like anything sour or bitter, so I never eat anything sour or bitter. And then they get unhealthy. They wonder why. They have to go spend thousands of dollars at some doctor to give them some medicine to bring their body back into balance. So food should be taken according to your taste, not according to somebody else's taste. But also keeping in mind what's really good for you. So that was the main thing I wanted to point out today about that incorrect verse that was referenced. And the rest of it is pretty clear. Maharaj Pariksit is glorifying Shukadev Goswami. And both of them are qualified. And therefore, it's just like when you hear a class. Almost every time we have a class on Sunday, proper class, Brigapati will say, that's the best class I've ever heard. How could it be you said that last week? But he's not lying. It really is. You hear a class from Prabhupada, the right source, and your hair stands on it. And it's just so clear, so potent, it really hits you, and you get it. Unfortunately, quite often we walk out and then we forget. And that's why we have to hear repeatedly, over and over and over again. Because we come in contaminated, And gradually, the contamination goes down, as stated here. He says the my ignorance is being reduced by hearing from you. Of course, he wasn't really ignorant. He's taking that part, playing that part as a pure devotee. But this is what should happen. One who hears attentively the Bhagavatam, Srimatan Sakata Krishna, Punya Shavana Kirtana. By hearing, Krishna says, after so many millions of lifetimes of ignoring me, now you're hearing about me. Okay, I'll help you. And he helps us to reduce all that contamination. Which plays into today's disappearance, Sanatan Goswami. Sanatan Goswami appeared in 1488 and disappeared in 1558, which made him 70 years old, right? If my arithmetic is correct. So we see the acharyas, they don't necessarily stay to be 200 years old. Everybody's aspiring to live till 100, 150, and longer. No, the acharyas come, they fulfill their mission, and they leave. So Sanatana Goswami is known as the Sambandha Acharya, the one who is empowered to enlighten us about our relationship with Krishna. And his deity, Madan Mohan, that he established, Madan Mohan is the deity for attracting us back to the devotional path. Madan Mohan. Madan is Cupid. We're all attracted to Cupid, the society, friendship, and love of this material world, which produces nothing but pain. We've all experienced, but still, if we don't see any alternative, we keep chasing after the same society, friendship, and love in this material world. But Madan Mohan attracts us away from that. Turn to me, come to me, and you'll find real eternal society, real eternal friendship, and real love, prema. So, Sanatana Goswami, one of his functions given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was to write books, literatures, and it was interesting that this is Brigapati's, and he always walks around with it, but somewhere they left it on the table today, and I thought, oh, this is perfect, because today is the disappearance of Sanatana Goswami, so the 6 Goswamis are giving their blessing, hopefully, on today's talk. So, yeah, Sanatana Goswami was specifically empowered to do that, to write books. We know from the Shad Goswamashtaka, Nana Shastra Vicharana Kinipano Sadharma Sangstapako, Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanekaro, Radha Krishna Padara Vinda Bhajana, Nandena Mataliko, Mande Rupa Sanatana, Ragoyago, Sri Jiva Gopalako. That the 6 Goswamis, including Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, they were empowered to study all the scriptures and then condense them into their Bhakti Shastras. And then Srila Prabhupada has further condensed that. So again, I've said this many, many times, but I'll keep saying it because new devotees are sometimes distracted. They think they have to read this book, that book, so many books. Prabhupada always said, you don't need to read so many books. Read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion. And so Prabhupada has further distilled all of their nectar into his books. So first of all, study Prabhupada's books. After that, yes, you can read Sanatana Goswami is famous for his Brihad Bhagavatamrita. You can read that. But first of all, if you don't know Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Prabhupada, if you don't know Bhagavad Gita as it is from Srila Prabhupada, what are you going to get out of Brihad Bhagavatamrita? Or, what are you going to get out of Sanatana Goswami's books? It's already there in Prabhupada's books. So you read that, appreciate, and then you become more qualified to hear Brihad Bhagavatamrita and other books that he's written. So yes, he didn't stay on this world very long, and Prabhupada told quite a few stories involving Sanatana Goswami. First of all, he said that he was so, because they're dear, they're dear to both the ruffians and to the gentle. He was such a nice, respected gentleman, devotee, that in Vrindavan, the villagers would come and treat him like, a father or uncle figure. And they would bring all their problems to him, and he would solve them. He would give them advice on everything from how to plant your crops properly to get the best yield, and interfamily problems. He would speak about it. Even though he's, again, Sambandha Acharya, he didn't say, I only want to speak about Krishna, don't bring me your problems. No, he would listen to their problems, and he would solve them. And because they respected him, whatever decision he gave, they would accept. So this is another thing that we have to follow. Quite often we have a problem, and all we do is talk about it. Everybody we see, we tell about the problem. We tell them about the problem. That is a disturbance. When you have a problem, find one person that you respect and take their advice. Give them the problem and take their advice. If you're not willing to take that person's advice, don't tell them the problem. Then you're just disturbing them. So we shouldn't do that. This is not good in a community, society of devotees, that you go around and tell everybody your problem and just disturb the whole community. If you really have a problem and you really want the solution, find one person, either your guru or some other senior person that you will respect and accept their advice. Tell them the problem and then follow the solution. Don't go around and tell everybody about it. So again, Sanatana Goswami Ki Jai. So Bhakti Suru Maharaj, did he leave today or last night or when do we know? This morning. All right, so then we'll forever have it on the calendar then, that he left on the same day that Sanatana Goswami disappeared. Same day as Guru Purnima, same day as the first day of Chaturmasya, because we go by the lunar calendar. So by the solar calendar, it'll be 4th of July. But by the lunar calendar, it'll always be the same day that Sanatana Goswami left. What can I say? Bhakti Suru Maharaj was in the same kind of mold. Not going to say he's equal to Sanatana Goswami, but the same mold. A gentleman, very, very, my dealings with him have always been like that. Very, very respectful and friendly. He's always been somebody that I could talk to about anything, and vice versa. He would come to me and speak. And even though we've had, quite a few dealings over the years, we really got a little closer when I was working on his book. I did the production and print buying for his book, Ocean of Mercy. If you haven't read that book yet, now would be a good time to read it, because he describes in that book how he came to the shelter of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. So, just amazing. So because we were working on that book together, not this year, the year before, when I went to Mayapur, I stayed in his quarters up there in the Conch building, and we were discussing things. And, we're both kind of night owls. We like to stay up late. It's just natural for me. You'll probably noticed I stay up very late at night. So, we would be discussing things, and he would ask his servants to make whatever he felt like having that night, pizza or whatever. And he kind of chastised me because as the heat comes up, my digestion goes down. So I like to take some kind of digestive aid, something bitter. But he said it's not good to take bitter late at night. You won't be able to sleep properly. So, like I said, we would hang out together. And he was just a very, very wonderful devotee. He also did a very nice seminar. He's done it many times, but he did it here in New Dwarka. And it's probably, you can find it on YouTube, on Vaishnava etiquette. Very, very well thought out and presented. If you get a chance to see that, he goes over all the different aspects of Vaishnava etiquette, how you should decide seniority. It's not coming from him. This is all coming from the acharyas, but the different ways by which you decide seniority. The very first one, and Prabhupada stressed this also, is by initiation. If somebody's initiated a day before you, then they're your senior. If the son is initiated before the father, then the son becomes senior to the father because he initiated first, like that. So by initiation, by varna, by ashram, by age, and last, by spiritual advancement, which is not always easy to discern. You can't always tell that this person is more spiritually advanced than that person. You can't always. So we stress the others more. Initiation, age, varna, and ashram. These are the 4 things that we stress in terms of deciding seniority. So, I am absolutely sure that Maharaj has achieved shelter of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, which means obviously Krishna's lotus feet, because Prabhupada doesn't move from under Krishna's lotus feet. So if you get the shelter of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, then you're obviously sheltered by Krishna. And I believe it was 75, yeah? Yeah. Anyway, like I said, the Vaishnavas, they don't necessarily stick around for a long time. So all you junior devotees, you have to be prepared. This is going to be a more and more regular occurrence. Prabhupada has initiated almost 5,000 disciples, at least documented just a little less. I think it was 4,900 and something. And, many have already left, and the remainder are going to be leaving. It's going to be accelerating. So you youngsters have to be prepared for this. But there's no cause of lamentation. Yes, we can miss the devotees and discuss our relationship with them, but ultimately we don't lament because we know, as Prabhupada said, this body is meant for death. This body is meant for death. And this is what the Guru does for us, and this is why we revere the Guru. The Guru prepares us to die properly, to die in the right consciousness and achieve the highest goal. So when a Vaishnava leaves, there are obviously some sadness because we don't have their physical presence anymore. But at the same time, we are not going to be moping and down because we understand this is the nature of this material world. We appear in this material world, not voluntarily, most of us, it's by force of karma, but by good fortune we come in contact with a Vaishnava like Srila Prabhupada who prepares us to make this the last death. Prabhupada said, be serious. Make this the last death so you don't have to come back to this place again. Because we see, it's not a nice place. It's not a nice place. It's very, very horrible. Recently there's been conflict between India and China. They've actually killed soldiers on both sides along the border. And so I started doing a little bit of research, and this is not something new. There's been conflict previously between India and China along those borders. And all of this happens because of the misplaced materialistic ambitions of misleaders. At the time there was Nehru in India and Mao Zedong in China, and they both had their political aspirations. They started out as friends, the non-aligned nations. They're not part of the, even though China was a communist country, India was the leader of the non-aligned nations. They don't align with the East or the West, they're neutral. But over time, the friends became enemies because, again, of political ambitions. Political ambitions. Why? Because China invaded Tibet, or annexed Tibet, and they claim it was originally theirs anyway, and India didn't like that because India always had a long-standing, nice relationship with that area. Tibet. Anyway, it's a long story. The point is that this material world is not a nice place. Today's friend can be tomorrow's enemy, and death is there anyway for everybody. So our main business is to take advantage of this path of bhakti, prepare ourselves for leaving this body, and help as many people as possible to do the same. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Arcita Prabhu. Is the light green? If the light's not green, put in fresh batteries.
Green. Okay, Haribol.
Haribol.
So I just like to say a few things. I got this from Radha Mohini, his disciple. Just a little something to read. It says that Maharaj was surrounded with auspicious items when entering the hospital. He took with him 3 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam, which remained with him along with the Bhagavad Gita. And the medical team allowed Maharaj's neck beads and Brahmana thread to remain on his body. He also had Vrindavan dust, Tulsi leaves, and Ganga water there with him. Srila Prabhupada's japa and kirtan played all day long, broadcast from Ujjain, the temple where Maharaj lovingly established for Srila Prabhupada in ISKCON. So it was just good to hear that those auspicious items were around him and with him at the time of his leaving.
Jai, okay. Question?
Hope this question doesn't disturb the mood of this simultaneously solemn and joyous occasion, but if somebody is familiar with shlokas that Prabhupada quoted a lot and that are prominent in the literatures, and if they also, that person reads Prabhupada's books, it's easy to notice that there's dozens of places, literally dozens of places where Prabhupada's obviously paraphrasing the verse in his purport, but he doesn't quote that verse. He doesn't put it there. He just paraphrases it, and that's it. So my question is, considering what's going on today and all the controversy about editing and changing, and why is the BBT considering even? If it was me, I wouldn't even consider putting the right verse in. Although that is the right verse. The one you were saying is definitely the right verse. I'm wondering just why aggravate the situation? Why not just leave it as Prabhupada originally gave it to us?
But Prabhupada didn't give it. That's the point. Prabhupada paraphrased Bhakti Pareshana Bhava Bhakti. Some editor put in Yasya Deve Parabhakti.
Yeah, get that out of there and leave it as Prabhupada gave it to us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's
So that's
literally dozens of places throughout
Yeah,
Prabhupada's
yeah,
books
exactly.
where he's paraphrasing verses.
And fortunately, like I said, we have
Both
Prabhupada's manuscript, so we can see that yes, Prabhupada did not have Yasya Deve Parabhakti in there. He didn't have any verse in there. All he did was paraphrase 11.242.
Right. Do you understand my question?
Yeah.
Why not just leave it at that? Leave it at that, because there's dozens of other places in Prabhupada's books where he's paraphrasing the verse, and he doesn't bother to actually insert it, quote the verse directly. So why not just leave it? Prabhupada gave it like that, leave it, like it's left in dozens of
Yeah,
other
but
places.
the
throughout
no
Prabhupada's
change
books.
camp will say the book was published when Prabhupada was here. It had that verse in it. So why are you changing it? You see what I'm saying? Either if you leave it in or you take it out. I mean, if you take it out or you put the right one in, they're not going to be happy because their point is,
Okay.
book was published like this, and even though there's a
All right.
mistake, they're leaving
I
it
got
like
you.
that.
Your point is they're not going to be
But
happy
my
no matter
point is
what you
that's
do.
not what Prabhupada wanted. Prabhupada wanted his books to be polished,
Uh-huh.
so that scholars will see that this is a very, very intelligent presentation. It's not just some dogma. So if we have the right verse, why not put it in? We're aware of what it is, but a scholar may not be. So if you put in that reference, it's a reference. The reference is Bhakti Parishan Bhava Bhakti. So why not put that in? So somebody seeing Prabhupada's paraphrased translation of that verse will have the actual verse as a reference.
Okay. No.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it comes up all the time. Somebody else contacted me from India recently saying they were going to give a lecture and they noticed that something didn't match. And I explained that sometimes Prabhupada's presentation was a paraphrased translation. Now the editors had a choice. Either standardize all of the reference, every time Prabhupada referenced a verse from the Gita or whatever, make it the same translation. Or leave it the way Prabhupada paraphrased it. So they chose intelligently to leave Prabhupada's paraphrasing. So you'll see the translation to, let's say, 213 from the Bhagavad Gita may not be exact every time it's quoted. May not be exact. Because when Prabhupada spoke, or even when Prabhupada gave lectures, he would recite a verse, translation, it didn't match exactly what's already in the Gita. So what are you going to do? Go through and standardize them all, or just leave them the way Prabhupada said? So, left them. So sometimes if you don't really know the verse, it may not seem clear. So that's the case with this person. Prabhupada referenced a verse from Kunti's prayers, but it wasn't exactly the same translation as in the first canto. I'm sorry, no, it wasn't Kunti's prayers. It was a discussion between Kunti and Kapila Dev from the third canto. And so there was something there that didn't exactly match, so the person was confused. So I said, yes, if you look at the way it's written, it is that verse. It's not a mistake. It's just that when Prabhupada gave a translation, he didn't necessarily say it exactly the same way you'll find it in the book. He may have just paraphrased it or said it in a way that is a little bit obscure, but that's the verse that he was talking about. So then the person understood. Okay, Rajaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Yeah, I understand. You would say just take out the wrong verse and leave it as it is. But the reason why that verse was put in, yeah, the reason why a verse was put in the first place is to give a reference for those who don't know that it's which is good. It's good to have those references. Just like when you go through the database.